This is the InfiRay P2 Pro thermal imaging camera, and we're going to review it right now.
Mark fixes stuff.
This packaging actually reminds me of old 80s aftershave boxes, like Kuros or I don't know, Antelope, something like that. So we've got the Teleconverter and the P2 Pro itself. Now I'm an international man of mystery, so I can tell you that this means touch the temperature of the world. Yes, that's right, I'm a polyglot. Or maybe I just read it off the backside of the box, but you know, either way's good. Now it comes in two boxes, so I'm not entirely sure if you can buy them separately, but the Teleconverter is what I'm most interested in. And if this works as it should, it'll be interesting to see independent components' heat signatures. Let's have a look at the goodies. It's not falling apart. Oh. It's really hard to open the box. It's so tight. And if anything has ever been overboxed and underfilled, I think it's probably this product. Goodness me. I guess we have to pull this blue ribbon to liberate the unit. And that's it. That's everything in the box. It actually feels really good. It's solid. It's kind of a metal. It feels kind of dense and weighty for its size. On the box it says it's 9 grams, so yeah, I can believe that. Feels quite robust. Let's see what else is in the box. In the stylish black envelope, we don't have Academy Award winners. We have a bag. What a nice little bag. I guess this is for storing your InfiRay. Yeah. Good size. Some instructions. Software installation, device connection, and more. And some cautions as well. It says it needs to be on iOS 11 or later. Mine's on iOS 15. It's just an old iPhone 8 Plus that I use for macro filming sometimes. Oh, luckily, this product has been inspected. Should bloody hope so. Warranty information is on the back. Right, we don't need this. Let's get this stuff out of the way. So next up is the InfiRay P2 Pro Micro Teleconverter. Again, the box is really tight, but this isn't as overboxed as the actual infrared camera. First impressions are it's really light and it's a bit fiddly to handle because it's so light. Again, it's that nice metal build quality, so that's pretty impressive. Removing the lens cap reveals what I think is possibly the shiniest lens I've ever seen. Mounting to the camera unit is achieved by magnetism, and it's not the strongest pull on the magnet, but it doesn't fall off. In fact, you can hold the camera unit by the teleconverter, so that's a good sign. Let's try this. As soon as I go to use my new toy, it turns out that my phone battery's flat. Typical. Be right back. And we're back. And not only do we have a full charge battery, but I've installed the app from the App Store. Upon first launch, it takes us through an explanation of the modes. I hope you got all that because I sure didn't. In seriousness, this is pretty helpful stuff. This is genuinely my first go of this gadget, and I've left the lens cap on. Our subject today is an MSX2, a Sony hip bit to be precise, and it's something I've been working on. In fact, I've just got it singing and dancing. Default mode is black and white, but you can switch between other renderings of the colour map. This infrared camera doesn't actually see light, What it does is it picks up electromagnetic radiation in the infrared part of the spectrum, converts that to an image, and then shows it as a map. The plan now is we're going to flip the lid off of this MSX2. Because it's stone cold, it should just be pretty much grey. The only image you'll see is the way that the infrared energy comes off of the different shapes of the object. But as we power it on, what we should see is some items that glow brighter than others. Well, why is this useful for someone who repairs things? Well, if you have an 8-bit computer with a piece of RAM that's faulty, very often that piece of RAM will get significantly hotter than other parts, so it can be a really great troubleshooting tool. My hand's hot compared to the computer. You can even see my veins just beneath my skin. Although infrared can't see through objects, it can only pick up surface temperature. So we'll set record on here. Now be warned, it's going to be very low resolution because it's a diagnostics tool and not a true camera. And then we'll fire up the computer. The lighting of the image that you can see where my hands are is actually reflected infrared energy from my hands. And within a few seconds of turning on, we can see some of our components starting to glow brightly. That's pretty impressive. Although it's not the easiest to see. I decided to do a bit of run and gun scoping, and you can also turn a picture-in-picture thing on the device, so it's using the iPhone camera at the same time as the infrared device. That's actually much more helpful. I think the problem here is I've got quite a lot of background light, and those temperatures that seem quite high even for ambient temperatures are actually true. It's really hot in here with the lights on. I've installed the macro, so let's see. It would help if I took the lens cap off. Thanks for telling me, YouTube. Let's see what happens if we get in really close to some of those components. And just like any other macro lens, the focal length of this lens is quite shallow. You have to sort of duck in and out to get it at its best. But when you do get the right distance, the results are pretty amazing. I had a good old hunt around the board finding things like voltage regulators, video encoders, and the CPU. Now I know the CPU is quite warm, but I don't know what temperature it is. I can read what it says on the screen, but do I trust it? Well, I'm not entirely sure if I trust my multimeter either, but I'm going to get some Kapton tape, stick down my temperature sensor, and then see how far apart they really are. After I wait for the voltage to stabilise, it comes up at around 40 degrees. I can't help thinking that because wobbling the camera around, I'm kind of going from one temperature to another. But even so, the two sources are pretty accurately matched, around 40 degrees. One of the problems I encountered doing this video, it was very difficult to match up the time codes between the phone and my Blackmagic camera, so if there's fluctuations on one at a different time to another, I'm sorry, that's because I've kind of dragged and dropped them. There's some other colour schemes and I'll run you through those in a moment. This one's much more useful. Right, I've switched into professional mode so we can go through some of the more advanced measuring features. If you press point at the bottom right here, you'll be able to put a point on the image, and then P1 shows at the top, showing the temperature of that particular point. Say you've got a line of components. If you press line here, you'll be able to drag a line on your image, and then at the top you'll get the max, the average and the minimum temperature at points along that line. If you want just to do an area, you can click frame here, then draw a frame around your area to define your region. Then you'll get a readout for that region at the top with max, average and minimum temperatures. You can have up to 3 points, lines or rectangles in one go. This would be invaluable if you were building a new PC and wanted to see whether hot air was getting trapped within your case. To clear a reading, simply click the L, P or R label, or you can click and hold to drag the region around the image. When you're finished, press the bin icon to get rid of everything. Next up, it's a sexy part you've all been waiting for, it's the palette. Now, these colours are not actually representing anything other than a remapping of the grayscale that you get through the infrared camera, but some of them are much higher contrast and a lot easier to understand from a point of view of someone who's looking for heat. There's a few options in the menu, but they're self-explanatory, so I won't go into them here, except for variable correction, which enables you to change the parameters of measurement for, well, edge case scenarios. So, do I like it? Well, I do, because it allows you to do weird things like leave handprints on wood. Most haunted, eat your heart out. It's pretty creepy looking actually. But genuinely, it's a good product. The price point might be a bit high for the casual user, but for someone who repairs a lot of machines, this could actually be a real boon. Something in the toolbox that you go back to time and time again. Many thanks to my amazing patrons. I have no idea why they put up with me, but they really do drive the channel and keep it going. You can join them by going to patreon.com/MarkFixesStuff, where you'll get ad-free access to all of my videos and loads of other stuff. You know, access to the Patreon exclusive Discord for what that's worth. It's just me chatting more rubbish. And of course, you'll be one of these amazing names on the screen. I couldn't be more grateful to these people. You make my videos happen. Thank you all. Here they come, walking down the street, get the funniest looks from everyone they meet. Hey, hey, oh look, it's a palm tree.